Call of Duty has been on top of the FPS world for over a decade now, but that doesn't mean that they don't copy the homework of other FPS games, because they definitely do. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos. Today, we are going to go over 20 times that Call of Duty absolutely copied another FPS game. You let me know what you think is the most blatant form of copying. I mean, just straight up Call of Duty plagiarism, and maybe some of them they didn't mean to. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Drop a like, make sure you're subscribed, turn on those notifications. Let's set a like goal of 1,123 likes in the first 24 hours. And now, let's get into it. Let's kick things off at number 20 with Heist. Who remembers this game mode from Black Ops 4? Treyarch was really hoping it would be a major part of the formula, but it ended up just being kind of a niche thing. It makes sense given the fact that it was pretty blatantly ripped off from Counter-Strike. I mean, it's a one-and-done game mode where you complete objectives or get kills to earn money, and then use that money in between rounds to buy better guns and equipment. Sounds kind of like Counter-Strike to me. I know, the objectives are different from planting or defusing bombs like CS, but the game mode definitely copied Valve's homework a bit. I mean, there's going to be copying in most games, right? At number 19. Black Ops 3 Ultimates. Ultimate abilities were added to COD in Black Ops 3, then they were brought back in Infinite Warfare and Black Ops 4 respectively, but the idea, it was pretty popular from other games at the time, namely Destiny. The idea of having a super powerful weapon or ability charge up for your character throughout the match had been done many times. I mean, I guess you could say Black Ops 3 was a bit early to the punch on this one since it actually predated Overwatch, but at the end of the day, Destiny did it first. At number 18, Battle Passes. COD Battle Passes popped up in Black Ops 4. Wasn't hard to see why. I mean, after all, this was the first COD game to be released after the start of the Fortnite boom. Everybody was scrambling to put Battle Passes in their online games. Now, Fortnite technically wasn't the first game to use the Battle Pass system, but it was absolutely the game that made it popular. It was definitely where Activision got the idea for COD Battle Passes. Now, you can argue whether COD does them better or worse than Fortnite, but they definitely weren't original when they were put in Call of Duty. At number 17, Ground War, the 2019 version. Ground War used to mean something totally different in COD. Back in the Xbox 360 era, Ground War was just a playlist. You could play on the 6v6 maps with 18 people in the lobby and make it crazy. But in Modern Warfare, Infinity Ward completely overhauled the Ground War game mode, turned it into something totally new. And by totally new, what I mean is Battlefield. They turned Ground War into Battlefield. Giant lobbies, huge maps, vehicles all over the place, but with Call of Duty gunplay and kill streaks. And you know what? I was okay with it. I enjoyed Ground War in Modern Warfare. It had this unique appeal compared to the Battlefield games, and I thought it was pretty fun. It was way more fun than the core 6v6 experience in that game, although that's not saying much, but yeah. At number 16, supply drops. Yeah, they were introduced in Advanced Warfare, then removed from the series after Black Ops 4, but they did have this bizarre run. By allowing people to infinitely pay for random rewards in a box, Activision basically opened up their own infinite money glitch, and it led to the supply drop era being some of the most profitable games in COD history. But the idea obviously didn't come from Activision HQ. There was lots of games in the early 2010s that were using loot boxes. Call of Duty got the idea, probably most notably from Counter-Strike's weapon cases and Battlefield's battle packs. And at the end of the day, loot boxes are really just a digital version of card game booster packs. Personally, I am glad supply drop era is gone. Man, there were some wild things in the system, and people were making some insane content with them for better or for worse. At number 15, Jetpacks. I know this is kind of broad because obviously nobody invented jetpacks. Well, somebody did, but when you look at the jetpack era of COD and how the movement mechanics worked, it's pretty clear the developers were trying to replicate the movement system of Titanfall. Makes sense given the fact that Titanfall was developed by former Call of Duty developers. Double jumping of Advanced Warfare functioned very similar to the double jumping in the first Titanfall game, which had come out earlier that year. And then Black Ops 3, wall running. Very obvious that Treyarch had taken notes on wall running, how it worked in Titanfall. So while no one video game invented the concept of advanced movement, I think it's safe to say that Call of Duty's advanced movement era was heavily inspired by the blueprint laid by the original Titanfall. At number 14, Prop Hunt. Now, the first games to have some kind of prop hunt, pretty sure was Gary's mod in Team Fortress 2. Then it became one of the most popular game modes for people to play. Eventually, fans started modding Prop Hunt into the PC versions of COD 4, but it didn't become an official part of the experience until Raven put it in Modern Warfare Remastered as a limited time mode before making it a permanent because it was popular. So, I mean, I guess you could say Call of Duty technically copied the fans on this one, because Prop Hunt had been a mod in COD for a long time, but then again, the mod started in Valve games, so it makes the list. At number 13, Meat Shields. Yeah, Body shields, meat shields. The meat shields in Black Ops 6 are absolutely hilarious, and they've made for some of the best Call of Duty TikTok clips ever. And that being said, the BO6 meat shields remind me a lot of the Gears of War meat shields, and that's probably intentional. Gears, I think, was the first mainstream game to have meat shields as a mechanic, and with the Gears franchise making a comeback soon, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of the meat shield mechanic in gaming over the next few years. At number 12, weather variants. Black Ops 4 was the first COD game to experiment with weather variants as different maps, and it was also conveniently when Rainbow Six Siege was doing the exact same thing. Siege got a lot of mileage out of its day and night system, where the same map could feel totally different from match to match depending on what time of day you played it. Treyarch decided to do their own take on it, their own concept with a bunch of day-night weather variant maps in Black Ops 4. Some were better than others. Ironically, the day-night system was removed from Rainbow Six Siege a few years ago because it made certain maps super unfair depending on the time of day you got, and I think Black Ops 4, well, at least the players, would agree with those issues because, like in Siege, certain BO4 maps got really unfair. At number 11, RIP, Blackout. Of course, it was a blatant ripoff of PUBG when it was first revealed in 2018, but I didn't care, you didn't care, we didn't care. I mean, we cared that it was replacing the campaign mode, but we didn't care that it was a battle royale because, frankly, Blackout was really good. It's pretty obviously just the PUBG gameplay loop rebuilt with Black Ops 4 assets, but the map looked great, well-designed, gunplay felt great, it was tight. The only issue with Blackout was the problem that it ended up being its downfall. It wasn't standalone. If Blackout had been a standalone free experience, it would still be going right now. But unfortunately, you can't play Blackout without having a proper copy of Black Ops 4, which is also probably the reason why Black Ops 4 is never going to Game Pass. Activision knows that a ton of the Warzone player base would literally jump ship. And since we're on that topic, at number 10, Warzone. It's the second version of Call of Duty Battle Royale, but this time around it took a page out of Fortnite and Apex instead of PUBG. Standalone free-to-play experience. Everybody could download and play, which ended up being a great call because it was a runaway success after it launched in 2020. You could even say that Warzone wasn't as good as its predecessor, which I say, and you could also say Warzone was only so popular because of when it was released, which I agree, but it was a massive hit. Definitely was taking notes from other free-to-play Battle Royale games. All the games were. They were all taking notes from Fortnite at that point. At number 9, DMZ. Extraction shooters kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, Call of Duty was rushing to get on the trend, so it's kind of a shame that it didn't work. Activision saw the success of games like Escape from Tarkov, Hunt Showdown. They wanted a piece of that pie, that extraction cherry pie, but I guess they didn't understand how difficult it was to design it, balance it, and maintain a game like that, and it resulted in DMZ not getting the love it deserved. It's not that DMZ was a bad mode because it had a following, but it needed more support than it got, and I'm not sure it's ever going to come back. There are rumors floating around it's going to be in Modern Warfare 4, but I wouldn't count on it. At number 8 is Domination, one of my favorite game modes. One of the most popular game modes in COD history, was actually more or less pulled from a different game, and I'm going to give you 3 seconds to guess what game. 3, 2, 1, Battlefield. It was Battlefield. Battlefield has always had game modes based around capturing flags around the map and scoring points over time with them, and when Call of Duty 4 came along, Infinity Ward took that concept, they shrunk it down a bit to fit a 6v6 setting, and they called it Domination. Dom is by far the most popular objective-based game mode in COD history. I think so. It's appeared in literally every COD game since 2007, but at the end of the day, it wouldn't have been there if Battlefield hadn't given them the idea. At number 7, Vanguard. It's a little broad, I know, but COD Vanguard copied basically everything from Modern Warfare 2019. That's pretty clear. I know, COD copying from COD. Vanguard is literally just a World War II reskin of Modern Warfare 2019 because Sledgehammer had to rush it through development to get it out the door. And look, if it works, it works. Clearly, Vanguard was a financial success to somebody, right? So somebody liked it, but the game was a massive copy-paste of Modern Warfare's mechanics, design, skeleton, all of it. I mean, I guess if you're going to copy someone, copy yourself. At number 6, War Mode in COD World War II. Despite all the criticism that COD World War II received upon release, most of the community was in agreement. War Mode, it was pretty cool. It was pretty awesome. Playing on unique maps with progressive objectives, it was a sweet way to experience a series that had not been done before, at least not in the COD series. Battlefield series, on the other hand, they did. The War Mode in COD World War II is basically just the COD version of operations from Battlefield, but as long as both versions of the mode are fun, I don't see any problem with it. Now we arrive at the top 5. Gun game. It was introduced in COD in the original Black Ops in 2010. That was 15 years ago, and I'm sure all of you know how it works. Everybody has a lineup of guns, you get a kill, you move on to the next one, and then whoever gets through the lineup first wins the game, but if you get stabbed, you go back. But if you've been playing Counter-Strike for a while, You probably know that they had the idea way before Treyarch, and it was even called Gun Game back in Counter-Strike Source in the mid-2000s. Now, granted, it was a fan-made mode, but Valve also made it an official mode called Arms Race in CSGO, and that version of it appeared in the original Black Ops, literally copy-pasted from Counter-Strike Source. At number 4, Infected. Probably the most popular party mode in COD history, and it was a blatant ripoff of Halo, right down to the name. Infection is a game mode that's been in Halo for decades, so when Modern Warfare 3 came out with a game mode called Infected, where the rules were literally the same, people were raising their eyebrows. And I'm not hating because I love both versions of the game mode, but there is no way you can look at COD's version of Infected and think it wasn't copied from Halo's Infection. I mean, the rules of the game mode, identical. They have an almost identical name. They weren't even trying to hide the fact that they were looking at Bungie's homework. They weren't. At number 3, Search and Destroy. One of the most popular game modes in COD history again. Yeah, copy-pasted, of course. It's been around since the original Call of Duty, but something you may have forgotten about the OG Call of Duty is that was actually a PC exclusive. And you know what else was really popular on PC in the early 2000s? Counter-Strike, which is why Infinity Ward included a game mode that was almost identical to Counter-Strike in the original COD, and it's remained part of the COD formula ever since. Team-based one-and-done game mode, one team offense, one team defense, 2 bomb sites. Yeah. At number 2, Zombies. I remember back when Zombies mode was first introduced. Everyone was arguing over whether or not it was better than Horde from Gears of War because they were very similar. I know COD Zombies was more about the environmental progression and fortification, but the core framework of the game mode was pretty much the same, and since Gears came first, a lot of people called it a ripoff. But I don't know, I'm going to argue it. I mean, Horde mode debuted in Gears of War 2, which only came out 4 days before World at War. So was Zombies really a copy of Gears of War? I mean, I guess you could say Zombies was a copy of other Horde-based shooters that were around at the time, but it's a little strange that Gears 2 and World at War literally came out 4 days apart from one another and had super similar Horde-based PvE modes. Maybe this one's a little unfair to have the number 2 spot, but whatever. I think number 1 makes up for it. At number 1, Spec Ops Survival, the 2011 version. The good version. Classic Modern Warfare 3 launched with a new variant of Spec Ops mode called Survival, and it was awesome. You and up to 3 buddies would choose one of the multiplayer maps, spawn in, fight off waves of increasingly tough enemies. You could earn money, you could buy powerful gear. Sound familiar? Because it was literally just Horde mode from Gears of War. I mean, this was Horde mode. You pick a multiplayer map, you get up to 3 buddies in the lobby, you fight off waves of enemies, you get increasingly levels of difficulty, use your winnings to buy goodies, you set it up. When it comes to Call of Duty copying people's homework, I think this is the most blatant I've seen. They didn't even try to change the formula on this one, not one bit. They literally just recreated Gears of War Horde mode out of Modern Warfare 3 assets, and they called it a day. I mean, I'm not complaining, I'm just saying. It was fun. As long as it's fun, who cares who had the idea first, right? There you go. Let me know one thing Call of Duty copied that I did not mention. If you guys are enjoying the face cam intros, let me know. I'll see you soon.